Hey guys, I'm Claire, the Fiddle Fig Girl, and today I want to talk about a little bit different type of topic, and that is how I really feel about houseplants. Now, a lot of people in real life ask me, what I do for a living, and I say that I own a company that creates specialty high-end products for individual houseplants, and I have a YouTube channel. And so people say, oh my gosh, you must have so many houseplants, this must be your passion, your hobby. And while that's true, I love houseplants and they are my passion. How I feel about them changes, I guess, on a weekly or monthly or even seasonal basis. And so I wanted to share with you my thoughts about my philosophy of growing houseplants and how I think houseplants should serve us and basically play a role in our lives. So one of the things that happens when I meet somebody and they find out what I do is my friends or other women or moms that I meet will say, oh my gosh, don't look at my houseplants. I'm so embarrassed. My houseplants are terrible. I have a black thumb. Don't look at my plants. I don't want you to see how bad my plants look. And I think it's really a strange phenomenon because it happens so often to me that I think, what other hobby do we have where people are brutally embarrassed at how bad they are at a hobby that's supposed to make us feel good? So it's emotional. If you were into swimming, you wouldn't meet somebody who is also into swimming and be like, I'm the worst swimmer. Don't watch me swim. I'm terrible. I'm horrible at swimming. That would never happen. For most activities that we do for fun, we should be proud of the outcome. But for some reason, houseplants have this ability to make us feel bad. And I think that's wrong. So I think that we should think about houseplants like any hobby. The reason people get plants instead of getting pets or having children is they realize that they don't want that much responsibility. And I think that's pretty commendable that you're getting something that doesn't take a lot of responsibility. You're not getting a hamster, a cat, or a dog, or a horse that you really owe that level of obligation, of care, of responsibility to. With a houseplant, you're identifying, I don't want a lot of responsibility in my life. And so I'm getting this houseplant that doesn't ask too much of me. And so we should treat them as such. We shouldn't feel guilt or obligation when it comes to our houseplants. So one of the things I've learned over the years is if a plant is making me feel bad, I will get rid of it. And I won't feel bad about getting rid of it because I have too much other things going on in my life to feel guilty about a failed houseplant or a plant that's just not making me happy anymore. So of course I try to gift my plants. If a plant looks like it's in pretty good shape, I'll try to give it to somebody or give it away free on Craigslist. But if it's dying and it doesn't look good, I don't want to burden somebody else with that plant. So I will just put it in our compost that goes off to the trash and I'll never think about it again. Maybe people feel differently than me about that, but I basically look at plants that I buy either at the grocery store or at Home Depot as an alternative to buying maybe cut flowers. As soon as you enjoy your cut flowers, you throw them in the trash and you never think about them again. And houseplants are often priced and created the same way. And so I don't think that we should feel bad for throwing away a houseplant. One kind of existential thing about houseplants is 90% of the houseplants grown commercially in this country are clones. They're basically tissue cultured, a clone from a mother plant. So that plant still exists. That plant's still alive. It's still growing. So if you throw away your plant, it's not the end of the life for that plant. It still has the mother plant growing. They're still culturing it. They're still selling thousands of plants across the country. So I don't think you need to feel bad about throwing away your plants if they're looking bad, if they have an insect infest, if they're just not making you happy. I really believe that there's nothing worse than a plant that looks bad that is causing you guilt or stress. And so sometimes this happens within my own life is I will have a plant that maybe it looks a little droopy, maybe it's not in the right location, maybe I'm just not good at caring for that plant. It causes me anxiety and unhappiness. I look at it and it's a reminder of my failure. And I think that's really important to remove from your life. If anything in your life is making you feel like a consistent failure, get rid of it. Cut ties with those toxic relationships. Take the things, the objects in your life that no longer serve you and just get rid of them. And so that's what I do now with some of my plants, even if it's a plant I've had for a long time, or maybe somebody gave it to me, maybe my mom gave it to me, it makes me feel really bad. You just have to be tough and you have to remove those items from your house. It's kind of like a Marie Kondo thing. Take a picture of it, remember it, and then get it out of your house because you don't need something in your house making you feel guilty or like a failure. Another thing about growing houseplants is I think because often we look up to sort of houseplant influencers as our role models and they have these virtual jungles for their homes, is people think that if they're going to be good at growing houseplants or if they're going to have houseplants as a hobby, that they need to have hundreds of plants. And I don't think that's true. I think it's really easy to make your house look over cluttered and almost dirty by having too many houseplants. It takes too much time. You know, if you think about how much time it takes to take care of a houseplant well, I think it takes at least 5 minutes per plant per month. So if you have 100 plants, that's 500 minutes a month. That is a lot of time that you're devoting to a hobby. And if it's not your true passion, or if you have a lot of other responsibilities, that time is not going to make sense for you. So I think that you can enjoy the beauty of houseplants and have them as a hobby. Well, maybe you only have 5 or 10 or 15 plants in your entire home. And especially if you're a minimalist, which I am, I don't want a ton of plants in my house. You know, I used to have 100 houseplants and I liked it, and people come over and, you know, do tours of my house, and it would be a lot of fun. But recently I went through this period in my life where I radically decluttered my life. So I got rid of 2 of my horses, which was a huge decision for me. I just kind of like streamlined everything about my work and about some of the activities that I was obligating myself to that I didn't want to do anymore. And I just really downsized everything in my life. I canceled trips and vacations, and I said, like, how do I want to spend my time? And one of the things was I got rid of a lot of my houseplants. And so now I probably have 12 houseplants in my house. Of course, I have more on my patio and I have some more in my yard, but I went from 100 to about 12, and that allowed me to identify which plants I really care about, which plants I want to keep for the long run, which plants that I felt like maybe I had to have or I had to try to grow even though I wasn't good at growing them, which ones I just wanted to get rid of. And so I gave away a lot of my plants, I trashed a lot of them, and now the ones that I have in my home are ones I absolutely love. And I will do a houseplant tour if you want to see my limited downsized collection. Comment if you think that would be interesting. But I'm more proud of my collection now because I don't have every plant out there. I don't have all the snake plants, all the dracaenas, all the fiddles, all the monsteras. I have a collection that is intentional and interesting and that not everybody has. Is like my personality. You know, it says a lot about me, this nuanced collection of plants that I have that is probably, you know, I'm the only person in the world that has these 12 exact plants because it's like my fingerprint or my personality, if that makes any sense. So I encourage you, if you're going through a busy season of life where you feel like you need to declutter your life or drastically downsize like I did, keep your favorite plants and try to get rid of 50% of your plants if you have too many. And that can be really freeing, and it can make you more proud of your collection in the long run. And then I guess with anything in our culture today of like influencer culture is you don't want to look up to people who make you feel bad about your plants. You know, it's so easy to buy coffee table books or watch YouTube videos of these plant gurus who have this like expensive, incredible collection of hundreds of plants, and it makes you feel inadequate. So be mindful about how you consume houseplant culture and watch people that make you feel good about your plants, and don't feel bad about your collection or your lack of collection, or if you have too many plants. Just do what makes you happy and know that it'll change over time. So, you know, you may go from hundreds of plants to 12 back to hundreds again, and I probably will at some point. But like anything in life, there's a time and a place, and I think it's really important to adapt our life circumstances based on how much we have on our plate and do what we can so that we live in a balanced lifestyle. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Please share your comments of how you really feel about houseplants, because I think it's interesting, and I think it changes as we get more knowledge about plants, we become better at growing them, maybe we get more confident. And if you're feeling kind of underconfident or like you're inadequate in your houseplant collection, I think you can, you know, maybe cull your collection or maybe even start over with a few really easy plants. I have a whole webinar on the easiest plants for beginners and what to start with that can really help you jumpstart with some foolproof options that are going to make you feel more confident. Side note, it's my daughter's birthday on Friday, and she asked for a snake plant for her birthday, so I'm so excited about that. It's the easiest plant. You're not going to be able to kill it. It will grow fine in her dark room. So I'm going to get her her first house plant this Friday, and so I hope it spurs a lifetime of love for plants. So let me know what you think about this style of video, and if you want a houseplant tour, and I'll see you in the next one.